What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Game Week 25, the double game week, and the blank Game Week 25 deadline stream. How are you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. It's another deadline, another stream. It's gonna be a cracking, I think, the next 1.5 hours. It's gonna be very exciting. There's a lot that has happened. There's a lot that's probably gonna happen, very, very soon. And I think we'll, of course, go through everything. We'll, of course, talk about different things, talk about which Liverpool players to go for. There is that Klopp press conference that we also have to dissect and talk about. I think which not a lot of people probably are aware. Maybe not a lot of people are giving heed to it. I have made my transfers. I'm sure a lot of you also would have made your transfers, and we're I think kind of in that nervy space, in that nervy spot where we still do not know who's going to start and who's going to get benched, substituted, limited minutes. All of these things, all of these terms are flying around just before the deadline. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an exciting one. Very, very crucial and very important time of the Fantasy Premier League 2022-23 season coming up. And I think if you're an engaged manager, if you are a slightly aware manager, you will be at a slightly I wouldn't say disadvantage, but probably at an advantage here because, of course, there'll be a lot of content flying around. There'll be a lot of information flying around. But if you can dissect it, if you can, get some understanding based on it, I think it's going to be very, very crucial. But yeah, welcome to all of you again to this deadline stream. I hope you're ready for Game Week 25. Please feel free to add any questions, anything that you want to ask, anything that you want to confirm or check or inform me. I think that also is a process of these deadline streams. Please feel free to do that. Do hit the like button. Do hit the, like the stream as well, because it really helps us with the algorithm and it helps us reach more and more people. We're also close to 2,000 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure that you do that. Hey Soumya, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Mitrovic replacements. I think it'll be very weird if Mitrovic now all of a sudden starts the game. We might get some information right now. I'm not sure, or at least aware in terms of any information that has come out with regards to Mitrovic not starting. But I think there is a high chance that he's not going to start in Game Week 25. He's been carrying this knock, this niggle over the past few weeks, and I think it's finally caught up to him. Now, if you are looking at Mitrovic replacements, I think the most obvious spot to go is towards a double game week option. We have Arsenal and Liverpool who have two forwards who have a double game week this week. Now, I think because of what Klopp has said in his press conference, in his latest press conference, where there could be some rotation among the front three. I'm still expecting Salah to get rotated, but yeah, there are high chances that Gakpo and Darwin Núñez may get limited minutes. I mean, it's not something that we were not really sure of. There were always these doubts about Darwin Núñez. So because of that reason, now Darwin Núñez is probably second in my list in terms of forwards to look at. I think Nketiah is the best option or the best double game week forward to go for in case if you still have that much money, in case if you have a third Arsenal spot open, because I know a lot of people have already had or do already have three Arsenal players in their team, so it might be a bit tricky to go towards Nketiah. But I think if you still have that spot open, I think Nketiah is the option to go for. In case if you already have Nketiah, then I think Darwin Núñez is still a good pick. I know he's not nailed, or he may not get more than 120, 130 minutes. But I think there is still a lot of explosivity in Darwin Núñez as an FPL option. So I think I'll go to Núñez if not Nketiah. Now, in case if you already have these options, maybe you're not convinced by Darwin, maybe you are going, Trent and Salah as your preferred Liverpool options, which is absolutely fine. In that case, I think you can also look at Watkins. I think Watkins is an option. It's a differential pick that not a lot of people are talking about because of the fact that he doesn't have a double. Aston Villa they are scoring a lot of goals. They are playing on the front foot. Yes, they are conceding a lot, but Watkins has been playing really well. So I think he gives you a fixture in 25, which is a great thing. He also gives you a fixture in 28, which is quite underrated. So irrespective of whether you play your free hit in 28 or 29, he can still give you a game in 28 and 29. So the double in 29 is also not the easiest double, but it is still a fixture. So I think you can look at Watkins as an option as well. I know a lot of people, are still looking at Kane, and if you are not comfortable doing the Kane to Darwin switch, I think it's absolutely fine. You can still hold Kane. I think he's going to tick along well. He may not be explosive. I mean, there's always a chance that Darwin can give you 10, 15 points, over the two games. Maybe even Nketiah can do that. Kane has not, I mean, he's ticked along really nicely, but he's not been very explosive. But yeah, I mean, he's still an option, still a potential, player to own, still a potential forward to own, especially when you're talking about that, second forward spot, because first forward would be mostly Haaland, in most of the teams. So I think these are my Mitrovic replacements in this sort of an order. But yeah, in case if you have any other options, do let me know. I'm still not very convinced about Wolves, about Kunha, for example, from Wolves. I don't think so. They score enough for us to merit a attacker, among those very crucial 7, 8 attacking spots in our FPL team. So I think these options should be fine. Hey Shreyash, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Any idea on whether KDB is going to play? Uh, there is a chance that he plays. I mean, he's not a confirmed exclusion or confirmed out. And I think, because the fact that Salah has a double game week in game week 25, I don't think so. Salah is going to get rotated a lot or maybe heavy rotation there because I still feel Klopp understand that Salah is one of his most important attackers. And I think when there is some rotation, I don't see that rotation happening with Salah. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong here, but I think that's what I have in mind, or I deduce from what Klopp has said. So I think KDB does get some minutes now. Whether he starts, I'm not entirely sure because yes, there could be some rest given to him as well, considering the fact that Man City are still the Champions League game is also kind of hanging in the balance, right? So and KDB would be required for that game. I'm absolutely sure that he's going to play in that game because of the fact I'm not very confident on KDB, and I think if you can easily make that switch from KDB to a Salah, I think I'll do it. Already Venkatia Watkins is an option. Watkins is an option as I mentioned earlier. He doesn't double, so he's not spoken about enough. But I think with the because of the fact that he's giving a fixture in 25 and he's giving a fixture in 28, I think he's still a great option to go for. Going for Botman to Tarkowski, which sounds really good. Considering the fact that a lot of people have doubled up on the Newcastle defense with Trippier and Botman, and now we're reaching that stage. Of course, this week Newcastle have a blank, but we're also reaching the stage where Newcastle have slightly trickier fixtures, and I think doing the Botman to Tarkowski move is pretty much fine. KDB to Salah looks good. Mitrovic to Darwin for a -4. I think it looks pretty solid. Now, excuse me. You might argue that Darwin may not, get a lot of minutes, may get early subbed because of the fact that Jota and Firmino are also in the mix now. I still feel there is enough upside for us to target somebody like a Darwin because he will get chances. I mean, I think the fixtures are good from a Liverpool attacking point of view. I still have my doubts over clean sheets against Crystal Palace and Wolves for Liverpool, but I think from an attacking point of view, Liverpool have still looked pretty solid. I mean, they're still a top four, top five sort of a attack in the Premier League, irrespective of whatever they've been, getting in terms of results. I still feel there's a lot of potential in that attack. Only if Darwin Nunes could have finished, a few chances which he caught, I think the conversation here would be very difficult or would be very different, in fact. And I think because that fact, Darwin Nunes for me still holds a lot of merit, holds a lot of value. And yes, he definitely has the potential to explode the FPL scene and get a massive haul this week. So that option or that possibility is definitely there. Gordon Tarkowski and Ketia and Salah for -4. Looks pretty decent. Tarkowski. The fixtures are tricky because it's Aston Villa at home. Though Everton at home, I think, will be a strong proposition, and I don't think so. It'll be very easy to score against Everton, especially at Goodison Park. We know that Sean Dyche likes to play the defensive football, likes to make that defense very strong. We know that Tarkowski is a very good option. We also know the fact that Sean Dyche will be focusing on set pieces, and that's what he did with Burnley as well, where he was focusing on attacking set pieces. And I think we've already seen from ITIS that Tarkowski is the target on most corners and free kicks. So I think there is some attacking threat there as well, and I think Tarkowski, especially in that price point, right, because you're not really spending a lot of money here. You are getting a decent defender who is a nailed option. I think that's also very, very important because at that sort of a price point, you always have these options which may be quite attacking, which may have decent fixtures, but then they are not nailed options. So I think with Tarkowski, you're getting that. And Nketiah, at least for game week 25, looks like a good option. We still don't know how far is Gabriel Jesus. I mean, I still have a feeling that he's probably a couple of weeks away from getting into the Arsenal team and from getting to basically, getting to a point where he starts to get some minutes and maybe make a couple of bench appearances, and then he starts or he starts getting those regular starts. I've said the word starts a lot, but yeah, he will come during April. So yeah, I mean, still a long time. I think still a month to go, and it's not that magically he's just gonna start games, right? Arteta would want to make sure that he is in good shape, he is in fine shape, and he doesn't get injured again, because coming back from a serious injury like that and getting an injury again is very, very easy if you are not conditioned properly, and if that return is hushed and rushed in some sort of form. will buy March and Tony in the upcoming fixture for the double game week. I think sorry, March and Tony are good options, especially for the double in 27. Both Brighton and Brentford, they are doubling in game week 27. Now, a lot of people are also having March and Tony this week, and I think it's a big conundrum in terms of whether they should take them out, whether they should go for Everton attacker, for example. I don't think so. A lot of people are taking hits for somebody like an Iwobi or a Dwight McNeil. I think I really don't think so. The hits would make a lot of sense here because you'll want somebody like a Mitoma or a March or even Ivan Tony for the double in 27. So I think that's the dilemma that a lot of managers, a lot of FPL, managers have this week. And I think especially when we are talking about going for Everton options, going for Wolves attackers, I don't think so. The transfer is probably worth it. But yeah, if you are moving towards a Salah, for example, doing some combinations here, or maybe you're moving towards a Darwin, for example, who still has good attacking upside, or maybe you just go towards a Trent. I think in those sort of scenarios, maybe you can maneuver these players, but even keeping them and blanking, and I think just keeping them on the bench this week is absolutely fine because I I don't think so. As you were saying, Devaria, that personally wouldn't cause it. It would, I mean, it will be compensated. So I'm again, let's see. I mean, if that happens or not. But I think for me, I'm thinking that the hit is not justified here because it's not that Everton and Wolves attackers are going to really go crazy. I mean, yes, there could still be one of the attackers who does well, who scores a goal, maybe a couple of goals, and gets about 10, 12 points. But it's very difficult to nail that attacker right now, right? I mean, there might be an Everton defender who scores from a set piece, from a free kick, etc., and might get a massive haul along with a clean sheet. So that also is a possibility. But yeah, who to captain, Nunes or Gakpo? I mean, if you are considering both, I'll first of all not consider either of them because of the fact that they will get some limited minutes. I mean, they will. There's definitely going to be some rotation for sure, and it's very difficult. I mean, because of that cryptic message in terms of the press conference that Klopp gave us. I think it's very difficult to understand what's going to happen there, and I think if I really have to go for one of the options, I'll still go for Nunes. But I'll try to move towards a Salah or a Saka. I think they are still better options. It's not that you have to go out of the way to go for some huge differentials. In case if you're still looking at a differential player, I think Nketiah still gets more minutes than a Nunes or a Gakpo. And I think because of the fact that he's more nailed in these two options, and Arsenal attack is slightly better than the Liverpool attack at the moment. At least that's what it appears when you see the Arsenal attack, or the Arsenal players playing. And I think yeah, I mean, I would rather look at Nketiah, but in case if I have to go for one option, I'll go Nunes, who will get much more match time, I'm assuming. Uh, I have a feeling that it's gonna be very close. Not too much to separate between the two. It may just be Gakpo who slightly gets more minutes, but I think it's very difficult to tell. I still have a feeling that Nunes, and because maybe I'm a Nunes owner, so I'm a little bit biased there, but I have a feeling that Darwin Nunes is still going to play about 130, 140 minutes, and it may be higher than Gakpo because Klopp would still want to rotate his players, and he would want players like Firmino and Jota to get more minutes because the fact that maybe now Liverpool will focus all their efforts on getting that fourth spot because, I mean, let's face it, it's going to be a bit difficult for Liverpool to overturn that deficit against Real Madrid in the second leg. So I think there will be some rotation for sure, but yeah, it's very difficult and tricky to predict who's going to play more minutes. I think it's going to be very close. I have everything planned out with my wildcard, bench boost, free hit till the end of the season. In case if you have everything planned, it's absolutely great. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think Liverpool having a game or not having a game in game week 28 is probably going to at least determine whether I free hit in game week 28 or I free hit in game week 29. It's very difficult to, at least for me right now, to pinpoint on a certain strategy. But yeah, do let me know what you are thinking in terms, if you are okay sharing your strategy with all the others as well. I think do let us know in terms of what you are thinking for your bench boost, for your for your free hit wildcard and all that stuff. Because if Liverpool don't have a game, then I'll be having two more blank players in game week 28, and I think in that sort of a scenario, I would rather free hit in game week 28 than game week 29, because in game week 29 you still have single game week players from the Arsenal team, from Man City, who still have a good fixture. And I think that's a bit underrated, especially when we are on a free hit, because we like to go for double game week options and as many as double game week options as we can. And that is a game week where there are a lot of teams doubling. So I don't think so it's going to be that easy or that straightforward. But yeah, I mean, for me, the FA Cup fixture between Fulham and Leeds is probably gonna decide what I do, especially in terms of my free hit. I think I'm still very certain in terms of my wildcard in 33 and then a bench boost in 34, but all of that information can again change. Thoughts on Tarkowski and Gakpo in for Shaw and Fernandez? It's a slightly risky option going for Gakpo for a -4, and do make sure that you understand what you do with Gakpo in 26 and 27. We still do not know whether Liverpool blank in 28 or not, but yeah, in 26 they are, I think, up against Man United, so that's going to be a tricky fixture. But yeah, I mean, do think about that. It's a slightly riskier option, but in case if you're chasing, I think in that sort of a scenario, in case if you're trying to gain ranks and maybe compete or do things a bit differently, especially against your mini league rivals, I think in that scenario this is fine. I'm aiming for that top 10 25k spot. That's actually a bit tricky in this season. Overall, it would be my best position through my FPL history. That's great. That's absolutely great. For me also, I mean, I was very fixated on ranks till last season, but I think it kind of took a toll on me in terms of targeting that 10k spot, because I was doing really really well last season, where I think I was almost within 25k for the entire season, and I think I just suddenly lost the plot in the last 7-8 game weeks, where I think I ended up around 75k, which is not bad still, but yeah, the season before that I think I finished somewhere around 15 16k, and I wanted to beat that. But yeah, I mean, it's great if you are targeting this sort of a rank range, because it is really really good if you're able to achieve it. Nervous Mares owner here. I'll probably hold as, I mean, that's what I'm doing as well. uh, I'm holding Mares. I'm not confident at all, and I think it'll be very unfair if somebody just tells you that Mares is absolutely going to start and they're 100% confident. I don't think so. Anyone can be very confident in terms of what Pep is going to do, and I think because of that fact, all of the Mares owners, I think more than KDB owners, are quite nervous because of the fact that he also played in the Champions League game, and we've seen that in the past, that whenever Champions League games come midweek and they kind of fall between these game weeks, there's always a high possibility, and there's a good chance that Mahrez gets those minutes and is benched in the Premier League. Pep also has options to play in that spot for Mahrez. Yes, I understand that Mahrez has been in great form, and maybe you would want to play the informed player, but Pep only knows what he does and what he thinks, and I think very very nervous myself being a Mahrez owner. I also have Martinelli, which is again not very ideal, because Martinelli can easily get benched in one of the doubles, and it's not the ideal double up with Saka. Of course, Saka is a great option, but yeah, I would have preferred to go for Odegaard. But in my scenario, I don't have enough money. Um, what are your thoughts on Walker to Van Dijk for a -4? If I have Walker, or if I have any other Man City option, in this case you have Walker. I think I'll still hold Walker. Against Bournemouth, there is a clean sheet in there. I'm not very sure of any attacking returns for Walker, but the fact that Van Dijk is an option, I mean, he's definitely going to start both games. Not very sure. I'm personally not very sure about Liverpool's clean sheet potential. They have been known to concede very odd or random goals, and their defense is still very bad. I mean, yes, they did end up keeping a clean sheet against Everton and even against Newcastle, but with Newcastle they were playing against 10 men, and in spite of that, Newcastle was doing really really well, and they were a bit unlucky not to score in that game. So I think if this was Trent or Robertson, I would have been a little bit more confident, because of the fact that I know that there will be a lot of attacking movement by these players. We will get some attacking threat from Robertson, even if it's Robertson, right? We will still be getting some attacking threat from him as compared to a Van Dijk. So in case if you can stretch it to a Robertson, I would do that. In case if not, then I'll just keep Walker and I'll just play him. I don't think so, Van Dijk. You know, I personally don't see him scoring. I mean, I'm not saying that a lot, but because that might happen. But I generally don't think so. Van Dijk has enough attacking threat to warrant a -4, especially when we are not confident about Liverpool getting those clean sheets. I've already given my insight in one of your posts on Instagram. I mean, I have been getting a lot of messages over the last couple of days, and I might have missed it. Salah or Saka captain. I think both are good options. Right now, the safer option looks like Saka, because of the fact that we've got some comments from Klopp where he's mentioned that there might be some rotation among the front three of Liverpool, the front three attackers of Liverpool. But I personally don't see Salah getting benched in either of the games, and I think he starts. For me, it's still Salah because he has better underlying stats. Both of them are on penalties, so that's not really a differentiating factor. But when we talk about goal involvements and the overall play in which both the attackers are involved, I generally see Salah getting more involved, and because of that, I think Salah for me is a slightly better option. But yeah, if I have to give it a percentage, it's probably about 55-45. It's not a huge difference. And Saka also as a good option. You can always look at it from two different sides, right? You can look at Saka, you can look at Arsenal being a very confident team, being top of the table, playing so well, and Saka also being a huge, huge, huge part of it. So the confidence is high. Arsenal's doing really well. Both teams are a bit leaky. The expectation is that Everton is probably going to shore up their defense, but Everton away is still a slightly easier proposition as compared to playing Everton at Goodison Park, and I think. Yeah, I have a feeling that Salah's probably gonna outscore Saka. I'm at 49K right now, so not. I mean, yeah, it's not far fetched, but still a long season to go. Still a lot of game weeks to go. And in case if you are, making the right moves, being in the right spot in the right position at the right time, I mean, you can even aim higher than that. So I think, yeah, but yeah, still a long time to go. I'm also at 47K. Couple of weeks before, I think by game week 22 or 21, I was about 100K. So I've already had a 50K rank rise, and that's how condensed and that's how close the ranks are at the moment. I remove Mahrez to get in Salah. I mean, if you're removing Mahrez to get in Salah, I think it's absolutely fine and safe. Salah definitely outscores Mahrez in terms of minutes. I mean, I don't think so. In an odd scenario or in an alternate universe, maybe that happens, but I think I'm very confident in terms of Salah outscoring Mahrez, especially in terms of minutes. Of course, he has a double game week, and I think that confidence kind of comes from there. But yeah, it's a very sound and a safe move to make. Long time supporter here. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and showing your love and support. Can you please help me? Of course, I can help you. Who should I triple captain, Salah or Saka? As I mentioned, Salah for me is slightly a better pick. Both of them are great options, so it's not too much between them. You can go either way, but I personally just have a slight inkling towards Salah. Still have a triple captain. Yeah, I mean, I would also prefer to play the triple captain. First of all, to play the triple captainship this week because now we are entering into a stage where we are having a double in 27. We have a blank in 28, blank game week. That's what I mean. Then double game week in game week 29 as well. So and plus then you'll be having more blanks in 32, more doubles in 34, maybe a double in 37 as well. So there are a lot of game weeks where you at least from the early thought that you would think that I can play my triple captainship in any of these weeks, but I have a feeling that if you have the bench boost available, free hit available, the wild card available, I think these are better chips to use in these blanks and doubles. And I think this is the week that you can use your double triple captain. Sorry, and I think Salah or Saka both are good options. I personally, if I'm still having the triple captainship, I don't, but if I do have it, I'll still slightly prefer Salah. I'm just scared because he had a midweek UCL game. He did have a UCL game, but Liverpool still have to do well in the league. They can smell some blood because teams above them, Tottenham isn't that. I mean, they are not very very regular in terms of getting the right results. They are not very consistent. We have seen Newcastle also dropping points very recently. So I think there is still opportunity. There is still a chance for Liverpool to finish in that top four spot. And I think Salah. I mean, I personally don't see a state where Salah gets benched. But yeah, I mean, he can definitely, if Liverpool are cruising and if they are playing well, and I mean, it's not a very in the balance sort of a game. I think in that sort of a scenario, Salah does come off early and you know uh, gets slightly limited minutes. But yeah, I mean, I still feel and I'm quite confident that Salah is probably going to play majority minutes, especially when we are talking about the players like Nunes, Gakpo, Firmino, Jota. I still have a feeling that Salah is going to outscore all these players in terms of minutes. Excuse me. If you watch the Liverpool versus Real Madrid, I did watch the game. Yeah, I mean, he is always in these attacking positions. His Salah's attacking play has slightly improved as well. I mean, his whole body language, looks a little different, looks a bit improved. He is trying to take on. I mean, there was a moment where he's trying to take on the Real Madrid defense, and rather than passing. And I think that itself shows that there is some confidence that's back in Salah's overall positional play. Yes, he does play on the white spot, and he maybe is not coming into the central positions a lot now, but he's still in quite attacking positions. He's still generating good expected involvement, goal involvements in every game, and I think I still feel he's the best Liverpool attacker to go for. Made two free transfers: Bruno to Salah, Kane to Nunes. Looks pretty solid. -4 for Trent or Tarkowski with -4 for Trent or Tarkowski with 10 players, or a -8 for Trent and Sufal for 11 players. I don't I don't see why you have to go for 11 players, especially when we are looking at options like Sufal. I think going with 10 is absolutely fine. I think, and if it's a decision between Trent or Tarkowski, I think I'll still go for Trent if you can, because of the higher upside with Trent, because of just how he plays, and the fact that he gets into these attacking positions, attacking spots where he can deliver an assist, and we know that he has a deadly ball in him, right? So I think I would personally not take a -8. I think a lot of people look to go towards 11 players, but I don't think so. It's a necessary or a necessity this week, because the fact that teams like Man United, Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford, they are all blanking. I think the average number of players who people have, who managers have in the teams is gonna be somewhere around 10, 10 and a half. I mean, when you consider the average, right? Uh, so yeah, I think you don't have to get to 11 players, especially with the hit. I think keeping 10 is fine. Yeah, as you're also saying, Devarga, that -8 sounds a bit far fetched to me as well. Bang on there. Darwin and Odegaard, or Darwin and Trent. Tricky, but I'll still go Darwin and Odegaard, because I think Odegaard has a lot of potential. He's a great option. We know that he is the creative machine in the Arsenal attack. In spite of just getting one assist last game week, he still ended up getting 3 bonus points. And with Trent, there's always a risk that he may not get clean sheets. Liverpool may concede odd goals. If Liverpool get a couple of clean sheets and if Trent gets an attacking return, I think that's easily 15 to 20 points. But I think Odegaard can still match or even outscore that. So I think if you're going safe, then I think I'll definitely go Darwin and Odegaard. If you are trying to maybe chase against your mini league rivals, maybe you are chasing rank, etc. at this stage, then maybe go against Odegaard. I think that will be the approach, but I still feel I think Odegaard is definitely superior than Trent for me. Start two of Kilman, Patterson, Bueno. I don't think so. Patterson's going to start. I have him in my team because the fact that I did have in my team and I didn't have any other options, and I don't have enough money also to make any switches. That's why I have Patterson. So I won't start Patterson. He did. I'm forgetting the quote in terms of the press conference, but I think he did come back in training, or maybe he skipped, or his training was delayed because of an extended injury, or something of that sort. So I don't think so. He's gonna start. First of all, he's not gonna start any of the games. There is maybe a slight chance where he gets about 5-10 minutes, again depending on the game state and depending on how Everton are doing in the game. And I personally feel that what I've seen from Sean Dyche and Burnley, he likes to have a settled score. He doesn't like to rotate a lot, and he likes the older senior players. And I think Coleman has been playing really, really well. So there is no reason why Patterson should suddenly come and take his place and keep Coleman on the bench. And I think if I'm starting to, I'll start Kilman and Bueno. Bueno still, I know it's two Wolves options, but I personally don't see a world where Patterson starts either of these two games. And I mean, there's always a chance that Bueno also gets benched, but yeah, I mean, I still will go for Kilman and Bueno. Thoughts on Reece James? I still want to go for Chelsea options. I still want to go for Chelsea players, but they are making it so hard for us to go for them from a fantasy perspective. I still like Reece James, but yeah, I mean it's getting a bit difficult to justify him. Chelsea, I still have a feeling that they will improve, but right now I think they're still just, it's not that there are a lot of other options to go for, especially even in terms of defense, especially this week. But yeah, I mean, if I am talking in general, I think options like Shaw, Trippier, even one of the Liverpool options right now is looking like a better option than Reece James. Reece James will get more minutes, more game time, and he will probably start getting towards that 90-minute mark. But at least for the near future, I think he will definitely get some more, more sub, than he will probably not play more than 60-70 minutes. That could be great if Chelsea's keep on clean sheet, but Chelsea aren't really keeping a lot of clean sheets. And I think if you have somebody like a Kepa, I think the Kepa player or the Kepa pick in goal can just cover off your defense. Kepa has also been doing okay. He's making saves. He's getting bonus points. So I think you don't necessarily have to double up with a Kepa and a Reece James. I think right now going without Reece James is fine. If you have Reece James this week, for example, I think you can still play him. It's not the most ideal game week or the fixture this week, but yeah, in case if you can maybe move towards a Trent, etc., I'll still take a chance and put myself in a position to get more points and maybe get a massive haul, which may not be the case with Reece James this week. Already on a -4 is Akanji to Tarkowski for a -4, worth it. Depends on what is your plan for Tarkowski. You don't have to make that move, but I mean, even if Tarkowski gets a couple of points in each game, you are still covering off your hit. And of course, you're also getting a player for game week 28. I don't know what your plan is for game week 28, but I think you are still putting yourself in a spot where you have an additional player for game week 28. So I think it's not a necessary move to make, because it's not that the fixtures are great from a clean sheet point of view. I still feel Aston Villa and Arsenal are both trickier games, and I think Everton could find it a bit difficult to keep clean sheets there. So not a necessary move to make, but yeah, in case if you want to go a little bit attacking, and in case if you want to own a double game week player, I think Tarkowski, the transfer is absolutely fine, but it's not a necessary move to make. Nketiah Gabriel for a -4. I'll go Nketiah just because of the fact that he has higher upside. Gabriel most likely is 2 clean sheets and 12 points. Nketiah could score more, or could get more points. Could even get a 15-20 pointer if he starts converting those chances that he's getting. He's getting a lot of chances. If you see Arsenal, it's a bit frustrating to see Nketiah, especially since I have had Nketiah. I have not had great luck with him because he is getting into good positions. He is accumulating good numbers as well, but he's not finishing his chances. And I think that's been a bit frustrating. But yeah, I mean, I'll still go Nketiah here. Best midfielder under 5.6. I think one of Iwobi, I can't really call them best midfielders, but if I'm looking at that sort of a price range, and if I'm looking at an option for this week, I think in general, I think Brighton options are better, like somebody like a March, for example, somebody like a Mitoma, for example. But if I'm looking at one option this week, I think one of Iwobi or Dwight McNeil can be your picks. Not much to choose between the two, but I think if you look at minutes, I think Iwobi stands out in terms of getting more minutes. But in case if you look at the data, in case if you look at the underlying stats, I think Dwight McNeil has the highest goal involvement numbers among all Everton players, apart from I think DCL over the past few weeks. So I think if you're looking for a cheap option, a cheap midfielder, I think you go towards a Dwight McNeil. Otherwise, in case if you're asking generally, I think a Brighton option is still the better option to go for, especially in that sort of price range where you do not have a lot of options. I mean, going for somebody like an Andres Pereira this week also is fine because it's Wolves, and I think they can concede. But yeah, I mean, having no Pereira or having Pereira when Mitrovic is not playing is a bit tricky because his performances or Pereira's performances definitely get affected when Mitrovic is not playing. On one side, you will have Pereira who will be on penalties if Mitrovic is not playing. But then I think he misses that link up play when Mitrovic is not on the field, because Mitrovic and Pereira, they have a very good understanding. They have a really good partnership, and I think because of the fact that there is a focal point when Mitrovic is on the field, Pereira's creative numbers are also are quite good, and I think that is something that is missing when Mitrovic has not been playing recently. How's this UCL fantasy going? I have it's just a sad thing, but I've not played it this week. Last week, in fact. So my grandmom passed away last week, and I think it was a difficult week in general. And of course, I was. If you've been following us, I was off social media. I was not really posting anything. There was a lot going on at home, and this week as well. It's been a bit difficult, and because the fact I think UCL kind of took a back turn or a backside. uh, I don't think so. I'm gonna. I don't even know whether I'm gonna return. To playing. I might just play for the fun of it. But yeah, I mean, I think I was about 30K if I'm not wrong, 30 or 35K. I'm not. I've not even checked the UCL page. But yeah, not playing it anymore. What's for dinner? I have chicken meat. I'm a non-vegetarian, and there is chicken at home. In terms of dinner, I still haven't had dinner, but yeah, definitely after the it's generally like that when during stream days where or stream nights where there is a late night stream, and it's always after the stream I just sit and and have dinner and then watch the matches as well. Um, I have three Man United players and three Newcastle players because forgot to make changes last 2 weeks. That's tough. Should I wildcard or free hit this week? I mean, you can. A lot of people have the likes of Shaw, Rashford, Trippier as the three. I mean, I also have the same combination, but you can have three options, from these teams on the bench, and you can just keep them in case if you are looking to keep options. I think you can keep Trippier, you can keep Rashford, but the other options and the other players are some picks that you can definitely let go. I don't see a space where you have to use a wild card this week. I think a wild card in 27 or even a free hit, when we're talking about wild card, I think wild card in 27 makes a lot more sense. You can easily navigate this week by maybe taking a -8. I think having 9 or 10 players and moving towards a -8 is absolutely fine. I've even seen teams which are fine with a -12 and having 10 players, and I think it's absolutely fine. So you don't necessarily have to take a wild card or a free hit chip. You don't have to use it. I think they're better weeks. Just treat this week as an off week of sorts where you will possibly have some rank loss, but I think it's fine. You can avoid using the chip because I think the chips are better utilized in the upcoming weeks that are coming up. So I think, yeah, I mean, you can just maybe take a couple of hits, maybe remove 2 to 3, maybe even 4 options, and then take a few hits and then get a decent team. Thoughts on Nunes for Kane for a -4? I'm comfortable doing it because of the higher upside, and I try to play a little bit more attacking in terms of my approach in FPL. And I do go, haul chasing and points chasing. So Darwin Nunes this week definitely has the potential. I mean, he may just blank in both game weeks. I'm not going to jinx it, but he may just get a couple of points in each game and not give us anything. But there is still some upside in going for Darwin Nunes, and I think if I'm in this position where I had Kane, and even if it's for a hit, I think I'll make that move because Kane is doing well. I mean, there is no denying that fact that Kane won't do well this week or next week as well. But it's just that Darwin Nunes can maybe give you that, that huge attacking boost or rank boost, which again Kane may not give. But yeah, you'll be safe with Kane. That's for sure. But I to answer this question, I will definitely do it. Do you think Akanji starts though? I mean, I think it's a bit. It's very difficult to predict what Man City is doing because their centre backs. I mean, whosoever's starting, they haven't looked that convincing. The system that Pep is operating right now, it's a bit difficult to predict in terms of what is he gonna do. Uh, I have a feeling that Akanji may start, but again, I might be totally wrong here. But I think Akanji definitely start. I mean, that's what I have a feeling about. I think Akanji starts this one, but it's difficult, right? Because they also have that important Champions League game, and I think Akanji is definitely one of the important players in that back line for Man City. Thank you so much. I mean, I've had a lot of comments. I did have a lot of people reach out to me last week. It was a bit overwhelming that people actually do care, and I got so many messages, so many wishes, so many condolences for my grandma. It was a tough time. It was a difficult few days, and I think still kind of into. I mean, I can't say that I'm into that zone still, but yeah, I mean, kind of getting towards normalcy. It's gonna take some time. She was not living with me, but yeah, she of course. I mean, she was just living very close to me, and I used to meet her quite a lot, very often. So it is a huge loss for me and for the family as well. But yeah, I mean, time is a healer, and I think yeah, I mean, it will definitely get better with time. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody, and for remembering me and for sending me all those lovely messages and those wishes. I'm ripping a leg piece as I am watching. I mean, mine is waiting after the stream. You think a -8 for Tarkowski, Trent, Salah, and Forster is worth it? I think. I mean, I'm not sure about Forster. Why Forster and what's the thinking there? But -8 for Trent, Tarkowski, Salah in general is also pretty decent. Should I remove Mitrovic for a -8 to Watkins? Can't afford Darwin. I mean, you don't have to. I don't know what's your rest of the team and how many players do you have. If you maybe have 9 to 10 players already, I think in that scenario, it may be a little better to use this transfer and get towards Watkins. I mean, Watkins is absolutely fine. You may have to play the long game with Watkins because he does have a single fixture this week and is not doubling in 28. He is doubling in 29, But again, I'm not sure what your chip strategy is at that point of time. Maybe you can just get in Ollie Watkins just on a chip. That is also a possibility. But I think it depends on whether you want to take a bit of a risk, bit of a punt. I think Watkins is still a good option. And again, if I'm in your position, I'll still. I know it's for a hit, and I know it's not for a double game week player, but I think depending on playing the long game, I think I'll still do it. Rashford injured. He was walking gingerly, and there are some signs that there might be some knock. I mean, nothing has come out saying that he's definitely injured or he's out for some time, etc. But I think yeah, right now we do not have that update in terms of an injury. He did look that he has gotten some knock. Let's just hope that he's fine. What's your chip strategy right now? Difficult to commit to one strategy right now because I don't know if Liverpool is blanking Game Week 28 or not. But I have a couple of players from Liverpool, so in case if they do have a fixture, then I think in case if Liverpool are playing in Game Week 28, then it's probably going to be, using regular transfers in 26, 27, and 28, and probably playing the free hit in 29. Now, if Liverpool do blank in Game Week 28, the strategy reverses where I use the free hit in 28. Uh, prepare, set up my team for Game Week 29. In that sort of scenario, I can also look at a wild card in Game Week 27 and set up for Game Week 29. So that's also an option. Basically, if Liverpool, they do blank in Game Week 28, then I can free hit in 28, use the wild card in 27, and prepare my team for a 29 bench boost. That's one option. The second option is, use the free hit in 28, prepare my team for with regular transfers for 29, and then wildcard in 33 and bench boost in 34th. I think these are two most popular strategies, anyways. I don't see a lot of people using the free hit chip this week in 25 unless they're really down to maybe 4 or 5 players, and maybe a lot of people are not okay with the fact that they have to take minus 12s, minus 16s, and all that stuff. So I think this is where I am in terms of my strategy. A lot can change still, and I think it's good to be open in terms of maneuvering around a couple of plans, having a couple of plans ready in place. Where once we have that information, once we get all these FA Cup round, fifth round fixtures away, I think it'll be a lot clearer in terms of what we have in 28, 29, and even 32. We can even predict what's going to probably happen in 34 and 37 there. So I think that's where I am. Why my super chat didn't pop up, I am not sure. I can't. Let me just quickly check it, but I can't see anything. Might be an internet issue. Seems to be working fine at my end, but I can't see a super chat. Sorry for that. -4 hit for Trent and Iwobi for Shaw and Mahrez. I think I'll take the -4. Trent and Iwobi. Iwobi is not ideal. And I mean, I don't think so. There's a comparison, a fair comparison between Iwobi and Maris. But yeah, I think you are still putting yourself in a position that, as I also say a lot of times, I mean, you are trying to maximize the gains from a double game week. And I think maybe, just maybe, Iwobi does something and, you get some decent points. So yeah, I'll take the -4. My exams finally got over this week, so I'm done with school. I can't wait to get back to playing FPL. That's great. And thank you so much for all your love and support. Really thank you from the heart. I hope I've been helpful and useful in some capacity. But yeah, I think FPL is a game that, of course, all of us love, and we love playing the game, love engaging with people. I think it's also the fact that you get to talk to a lot of people, you get to know so many people, know their thinking, know their way of playing FPL. I think it's just a beautiful game that brings people together. We love you always by your side. Thank you so much. Thank you again for your lovely comment. I joined late, just got to know about your loss. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much again for your condolences. My chip strategy is lays also. I'm assuming I'll read it right. My chip strategy also lays on gaming 28, Kurkure on gaming 29, finish it off with Cheetos for the remainder of the season. That's a very nice comment. I wish I could like it. Yeah. Using wildcard in 27, and I only have 9 players if we exclude Mitrovic. So I mean, I think you can do that move. I think you still have, and I remember this is for Watkins, I think, and I think Watkins is a decent option. I know he won't be spoken about a lot because of the fact that we have Darwin and Ketia having a double game week and other options having a double game week. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll make that move. Thank you so much, Ranveer. I think I did see your message on Instagram, but I was too late to reply. But yeah, thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate your support. Transfer suggestion, you'll have to probably post. If you can just post it here, I think it'll be a little easier. I think otherwise it's just a bit tricky to go through all the DMs on Instagram and then try to find it on live on stream. But yeah, if you can just post it here, it'll be really really helpful. Start two of Pereira, Nathan Ake, and Bueno. I'll definitely start Bueno. I'll take that chance with Bueno. There's a chance that he may get benched or substituted, etc. But I still feel I'll start Pereira and Bueno. I know Devagya is saying that Ake and Bueno, but I think I will still go for more attacking option. The Wolves can still concede. It's a home game for Fulham. Fulham at home have generally looked like a strong proposition. Now, if Mitrovic doesn't play, yes, there is still a doubt, and there are doubts that Mitrovic might not play. But I'll still personally, I'll still that's the kind of manager I am. In case if you want to go a bit safer, maybe you go. I mean, it's not that Ake is definitely safer, but yeah, he has the better fixture for sure. So yeah, in case if you want to go a little bit safer, a little bit more secure, you go for Ake and Bueno. In case if you want to go a little bit more attacking, for example, like somebody like me who will be doing, basically going for an attacker in this situation, I would go for Pereira and Bueno. Best forwards under 6.3. There aren't really a lot of options under 6.3, to be very honest. We'll quickly check it. I mean, Iheanacho could be a great option at 6.1. The fixtures are a bit tricky. It's Arsenal this week, but then it's Southampton, Chelsea, Brentford. They have a double, which is a decent double, which is Palace and Aston Villa. So I think if you're looking at not the ideal option this week because he doesn't have a double. But yeah, I mean, Iheanacho could be a good pick at 6.1. I think he could be a decent option. Nonto, again, there were a lot of conversations around him for the double, etc. He did manage to get an attacking return, but again, right now, I'm not really seeing him, getting minutes and getting starts. But yeah, not a lot of other options. There's Neil Mope as well, who has a double game week, but then he also, could have limited minutes. So yeah, not very sure there. Vegas is playing as a number 9. Of course, he's blanking this week. Sorry, he's playing as a number 10, in fact, in Man United games recently, and of course he's blanking this week, so he's not an option. Uh, let's see how much is Kunha. I think Kunha is an option that you can also look at. I think he's 5.5ish. If I'm 5.5. So in case if you are looking at an option this week, in case if you are looking at a doubler or if you want a doubler for this week, I think Kunha could be a decent option. Though I mean, how much can we really trust the Wolves attack is another question, right? I would still not want to go there, but yeah, I mean, if you are looking at this week in isolation, I think Kunha is the option. Otherwise, keep an eye out for Iheanacho. I think Iheanacho could be a really good pick. Can Salah return this week? Definitely can return this week. Seeing his performance this season, can Saka outscore him to the Everton? So Everton can be a trickier fixture. I think Everton will be a trickier fixture for Arsenal, but I think it's a home game for Arsenal. I think I'm expecting Everton to be tight and to be very solid defensively, but yeah, I mean it could be a trickier game. I just feel Salah has slightly more potential. I know that Klopp has put us in a spot where now all of us are kind of scrambling in terms of which attacker is going to get benched, which attacker is going to get rotated. It could be Salah. We it won't be surprising if Salah is benched, right? Because last season as well, we saw a couple of odd games where Salah did get benched, and it was so frustrating because Salah last season was still a very good proposition, a very good player to own. But but yeah, I think this season it is a bit tricky. But yeah, I personally feel that Salah can definitely outscore Saka. Play Ake or do Trippier to Robertson for a -4. Again, it's not a necessary move to make. But I really really want to keep Trippier because of the fact that Trippier is really good. He has been getting a lot of good points. Newcastle can still keep clean sheets. I mean, their defense is slight or the defensive numbers are slightly come down a bit, but that regression was supposed to happen anyways because they did outperform their attacking and defensive numbers to an extent. It depends, right? If you want to go a little bit more aggressive, then you go Robertson this week. This week is fine, it's sorted. But then what do you do with Newcastle and with Trippier? Because Trippier's ownership is still very very high. So if he gets 8 to 9 points, in the next couple of weeks, there will be huge rank losses. So what do you do in that sort of a scenario? Do you have a cover up with Botman? I'm not sure. Uh, Firstly, I won't do it. I think I'm okay playing Ake this week. Hope you're doing great. Param, hope you are doing great too. I was thinking for Darwin, but with rotation risk news also, I have to take a -8. Kepa, Tarkovsky, Bueno, Badiashile. Still not used to that name. Salah, Saka, Odegaard, Gakpo, Haaland, and Ketia Johnson. I think it's a good team still. I mean, you can go a bit risky. There is risk involved for sure because there's an off chance that maybe he gets to completely benched in one game. I mean, all of us want him to start both games, and all of us are thinking that maybe he starts both, and then he kind of comes off at the 60th minute or something like that. May or may not happen, but yeah, I mean it's a risk for sure. So if you don't want to take a risk, I think it's fine. I have Kepa, Botman, Ake, Andres Pereira, Salah, Bruno, Odegaard, and Katia Haaland. Mitrovic, you got one free transfer. You've got 2.2 million in the bank. What moves do you think of Mitro, Bruno, Botman to Darwin, McNeil, Trent, but won't have Saka? I think I will try to. I don't know how you get Saka here. Because you have Nketiah, you have Odegaard, and then you have White. I possibly have to take out. I definitely will try to get to Saka, and I think I can make the Bruno to Saka switch by changing White to a different defender. I don't see Tarkovsky here, and I think I can go Tarkovsky. That's also an option. So just do the math here. Should I do Bruno White Botman to Saka? Yeah, I mean that's the move that I would have preferred. Basically, take out Bruno White and Botman and get in Saka, Tarkovsky, and Trent. You have Mitrovic, which is not ideal, but I think it's fine. I mean, I personally don't think if Mitrovic doesn't either he starts or he's not even in the squad. I mean, it's either the two. I don't think so. He's gonna come from the bench and get a few minutes here and there. So, and I'm assuming that you won't have a proper bench as well. I think it's fine. I'll still make the move. I still feel Saka's ownership is gonna be skyrocketing this week, maybe even more than 100% because of the fact that a lot of people are going to captain him as well. So I think the priority there is to cover off the Saka threat. It's fine if you have Mitrovic, and I think it's okay. You can manage for 1 week. The rank loss that you can get from not having Saka is way more than maybe the rank loss that you can get from a Darwin. To be very honest, so I think it's fine. Saka or Odegaard, definitely Saka. More goal threat, though the goal involvement numbers, the underlying stats for both players aren't very off or very different. Or I mean, it's not that one player is massively outscoring the other one in terms of underlying stats. But I think because the fact that Saka is on penalties, he is having a lot more direct goal threat than an Odegaard. I think I prefer Saka over Odegaard. Tarkovsky or Patterson, definitely Tarkovsky. Don't even think that Patterson's going to start. He is a risk. He's not had proper training sessions. Then we have Coleman, who's been in good form, and I think Sean Dyche will keep Coleman. And I don't see any reason why Patterson should suddenly come and take his place, and Coleman drops to the bench. So I think definitely Tarkovsky here. It would be nice if we do a watch along. I mean, I want to do. There's so much that has happened over the last 1 week. We are also live in terms of our Insanely Football blog. So in case if you have not checked it out, make sure that you check it out. It's insanelyfootball.com. I've also added a link in the description so you can check out the link, check out the blog from there as well. But yeah, I had to kickstart that. Then have been active in terms of the podcast. There have been I think 3 episodes now live on the podcast, the Insanely Football FPL podcast, where we do a slightly longer, sort of a format where we talk about the whole game week. It's like a preview for the whole game week, talking about doubles, talking about strategy, talking about captaincy, my team. So there's a lot of valuable information that you can dissect from there. So in case if you've not checked it out, the links are also, you can also check out my Instagram page. You will find the links to the podcast there as well, and the links to the podcast would also be in the description. So I think because of all of that stuff happening, it's been difficult to focus on other things. But yeah, I would love to do a watch along. Uh, I think one of United's games, once we have a good game coming up, I think we can try something like that. Rate my team: Kepa, Bueno, Tarkovsky, Ake, Salah, Saka, Odegaard, Pereira, Haaland, Darwin, and Ketia. It's a very strong team. I think the only I can't say a weak link, but the only option that's not a preferred option. I mean, it's not a bad option, but it's not a preferred option is Nathan Ake probably. Otherwise, the team looks pretty solid. Should I get Salah and a 6 million forward because funds utna hi hai, or Darwin and Gakpo or any other mid? If yes, then who? Already have Martinelli and Saka. I mean, I'm assuming you can't get to an Odegaard because of the fact that you have Nketiah here. But yeah, I mean, I think I will definitely try to get in Salah because I think Salah is definitely a much better option than Darwin and Gakpo because the fact that he's on so penalties, because the fact that he's going to get more minutes than both of these names that you mentioned, basically Darwin and Gakpo. And I think I'll try to prefer Salah or try to get in Salah in whatever way I can. I mean, 6 million strikers aren't really a lot. You have somebody like a Kunha who has a double game week this week. Maybe you go there, but yeah, I mean, I'll still prefer Salah. Any midfielder to target under 6.5 million. I mean, if you're looking at this game week, then you have the likes of Sarabia. You also have somebody like a Iwobi or a Dwight McNeil. I think all these options are below 6.5. So you can look at, if you're looking at a double game week option from Wolves or Everton this week, I think you know I think you can look at these options. In case if you are looking at a slightly long term option, then you have the Brighton options, Mitoma March, who have a double in 27. They are blanking this week, so don't get them in this week because you won't be having a fixture and you will be surprised. But yeah, I mean, I think these are the options that I look at in terms of going for the slightly budget midfielders at the moment. I think these are good options. What's your future plan about Kepa? Would it be wise to switch to a Raya or an Edison? I won't go Edison for sure. I think Man City aren't really keeping clean sheets. Their system is a bit weird. Edison does mean that there's a lot of money invested in goalkeeper, which is again not something that I generally like. So I right now it's Kepa, but yeah, the option is definitely there to switch to a Raya because the fact of the fixtures and because the fact that there's also a double. Now, it also depends on what the other players are doing and in what state they are, whether they are starting games, whether there are some injuries that I have to deal with. But right now, it's just to hold fort and hold Kepa. But yeah, the option or to switch to a Raya is definitely, I have flirted with the idea in my mind, and I think that definitely could be a direction to look at. But yeah, I personally won't go Edison. I think if I'm going for a Man City option in defense, I'll rather look at a defender. I know that Edison is nailed, but it's not that. Edison is getting clean sheets left, right, and center, and we know that Edison doesn't really have any upside because it's either 6 points or 2 points. There's nothing more or nothing less in most weeks. I'm only 4.7 million in the bank. So who's a good defender to get? I currently have White, Tarkowski, and Bueno. Um, I mean, if you're okay not going for a double game week option, you can look at an Aston Villa defender. I know it's not ideal because Aston Villa are conceding a lot of goals, so I get the argument if you don't want to go there. But it's Tyron Mings is 4.3 million, so you can go for him. You can also look at maybe a Kilman, though again the double game you already have Bueno covered. But in case if you want a little bit more safety, you can look at going for Kilman. The fixtures are against Fulham and Liverpool this week. It's not that great, but yeah, I mean, you're still getting a double game week player, and maybe just maybe you might get away with a clean sheet from Kilman. Other than these two options, again, I don't see a point of doubling up on the Everton defense because you already have Tarkovsky, and I think that is absolutely fine. In terms of going with the other options, other cheaper options, right? There aren't really a lot of great picks, especially when we go a little bit cheaper. And I think because of the lack of good options available, I think you just stick to the names that I mentioned here. Maybe again, not this week, but yeah, Ben Me could be an option, especially when Brentford have a double in 27. Then there's Estupinian as well when Brighton have a double in 27. But yeah, this week I think if I'm going for one, I think I'll look at Kilman. Uh, and maybe make that Kilman to a switch to an Estupinian or a Ben Me for 27. So that could be an approach for sure. Nice website. Thank you so much. Who coded the website? It's been done by me and my wife. I mean, it's taken a long time because we are not coders or we are not. I mean, I personally don't have a technical background, and my wife also doesn't have a technical background. So it's taken a lot of time to build this website. But yeah, do check it out, and do let me know your feedback as well. I mean, I think it'll be great to know your thoughts in terms of what you would want to see on the website in terms of blogs, because it's a blog at the end of the day, and there will be a lot of rich content available. from an FPL point of view. So do let me know if you want to see anything specific, or just your regular feedback in terms of how the whole website has turned out. Bueno to Tarkovsky for a hit, worth it. I mean, just feels like a lot odd transfer to do, right? Because Bueno can still give you minutes. I possibly won't do it for a hit. I think I'll take my chances. Iwobi or McNeil, from an eye test, sorry, not from an eye test, but from minutes point of view, I think Iwobi is slightly safer. But I think McNeil, I mean, I think both of them are going to play on the flanks, and I think in that scenario, I would definitely go for McNeil. Slightly better option, has the better stats among all Everton attackers, and I think Iwobi just doesn't get, looks like a player who's probably gonna go absolutely crazy in terms of attacking attacking returns, and getting those goals and assists. Though he still has some decent assist potential, but I think if I'm looking at one option, I'll look at McNeil out of the two. What are your thoughts on Liverpool defense? Is it worth? I mean, my thoughts are that they are quite bad at the moment. I mean, if you saw the Real Madrid game, it was, yes, Madrid did dominate, especially in the second half. But the way Liverpool conceded or capitulated, conceding those kind of goals, it did look like schoolboy defending. Again, no disrespect to any Liverpool fans out there, but it did look like really bad defending. I mean, what's happened to the defense? It's Van Dijk is totally gone off. Gomez was so bad, he was so poor that Matip had to come on, and I think Matip and Van Dijk are probably going to be the two centre backs at play. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the only reason we are talking about Liverpool options is because of the fact that it's a double game week. It's a decent double. And we are talking about options like Robertson and Trent because of the fact that they have some attacking threat. I don't see a lot of people, looking at Gomez, looking at Van Dijk. Yes, there are some people, because of the fact that maybe they do not have enough money. They do want to get a bite of the Liverpool defense, but it's not that they are keeping clean sheets, right? You would look at options like Gomez and Van Dijk because of the fact that they can get clean sheets, but they aren't getting any. So I think Robertson and Trent are fine. Out of the two, I slightly prefer Trent because of the fact that he's been a little bit more attacking. He's also, I mean, there is definitely some improvement in terms of his attacking play. He's still a very bad defender. Don't get me wrong, but I think his position is also safe in that spot. I don't see a lot of rotation there, and I think especially when it comes to his attacking play, there is a slight improvement there. We know that Robertson, out of the two options, out of the two fullbacks, Robertson's always the one who's slightly more defensive, who stays behind a little bit more than Trent. And I think Trent's delivery is slightly better than Robertson. Again, we can debate about it all night, but I think just these two options are okay, and I think among these two, I prefer Trent. But yeah, I mean, these are not mandatory options to go for, because you would still have to see what you do with options like Trent, Robertson in 26, in 27. Right now we do not know what's going to happen in 28 and 29 as well. So you do need to have some sort of a plan, even if you get these options, in terms of what you do with them. Bruno to McNeil, Sarabia, Martial. Martial is still there in your team, man. Martial to Watkins, Darwin, Patterson to Trent for a -8. Already brought in Salah for KDB. I think it's fine. I'll do Bruno to McNeil here. Martial to Darwin, and I think Patterson to Trent. I think that's fine. You will have three Liverpool options. So in case if you do not want three Liverpool options, maybe you go for Watkins instead of Darwin. But yeah, I think going Patterson to Trent is a huge upgrade. I think that's fine. Did you receive $50 by a guy? I didn't, and help me find that person. I don't know where he went, of course, but yeah, that was a crazy prediction. I think got it absolutely spot on. But I haven't spoken to the guy. I haven't met him on any stream, and I don't know where he is. But yeah, I that person definitely owes me $50, which I haven't got so far. Uh, I always thought you're single. No, I got married last year. It's in fact this January was my wedding anniversary. It's been a year since I got married. You must somehow promote your stream and get a larger audience. Help me do that. We've been doing this for the past couple of years now. I mean, yeah, let's see how we can go big and go absolutely crazy. The idea is to, of course, have a lot of fun along the way, and whatever comes, along with it, it's absolutely fine and absolutely great. Kepa, Ward, Patterson, Trippier, Botman, Shaw, White, Saka, Odegaard, Mahrez, Rashford, Pereira, Haaland, Kane, Mitrovic have two free transfers and willing to take hits. What would you do? So Patterson is an issue. Trippier, Botman are both issues. Shaw is an issue as well. So basically, you just have one defender, which is White. You have Saka, Odegaard, so you have three Arsenal options already. There's Mahrez, Rashford, Pereira. I'll try to. I mean, if I don't know if what or how comfortable you are letting go of Kane, but I think letting go of Kane and going for a cheaper option definitely gives you potential to upgrade a Botman, upgrade a Shaw. I mean, I think you can just with the money that is available to you, you can do the Shaw to Trent upgrade. I think that's absolutely fine. If you downgrade a Kane to a cheaper option, I think you can even get Mahrez to a Salah. I think try to do that and try to see if you can manage the funds there. I think my preference would still be upgrading a Mahrez to a Salah, because I think you should definitely have Salah this week. And I think with the Kane downgrade, I think I'll try to prefer that. Then I'll see what upgrades I can make. Depend again. Do the math here. I'm bad at math, and it's difficult to do this live on the stream. But yeah, I think try to see if you can get towards a Robertson or a Trent. If you can't, then try to upgrade, or not upgrade, but try to change Botman to a Tarkowski. At least that way you will have a confirmed starter, and you will have. I mean, having White, Saka, and Odegaard is not the most ideal scenario here, but I mean, it's still fine. I think there are other issues here to kind of sort out first. Try to get in Salah, try to get in Tarkovsky. If you can, maybe change a Shaw as well to a different option. In case you do not have enough money, maybe go Kilman. That gives you an additional player. In case if you have some additional money, maybe try to go towards a Robertson or a Trent. Don't look at options like Van Dijk or Gomez, just because of the fact that you might be less or might have less money and you might want to accommodate a Liverpool option. I don't think so. It's worth it. Or in case if you do not, in case if you're okay playing with a couple of defenders, I think you can even. I still won't change or try to change Mitrovic to Nketiah, because of the fact that you have a lot of options who aren't playing this week. So I think I'll definitely prioritize Salah. Then I'll try to see if I can get one of Darwin or Trent. If Darwin is easier, I'll try to go there. I think you can get in Darwin by maybe downgrading a Kane and getting in that additional money. So just try these combinations out. I think something will definitely work out here. I'm glad you're back. Glad that I'm back too. It's been a tough week. Everything is better. Definitely better. But yeah, as I said earlier in the stream, right? It's gonna take some time to get used to the new uh surroundings and the changes that have happened very recently. It's a very good website. Thank you so much. Quite user friendly. Would love to use it for future reference. Do let me know what you would want to see on the blog. In terms of content, I think there's a lot that we can do in terms of content. But yeah, I mean, in general, from what has already been put out, which is your regular team selection, differentials, captaincy, in case if you want to see any specific matchups, in case if you want to see comparisons from certain players, I've already started doing. So I used to do this segment, which was quite popular on Instagram, where I was breaking down each game week in terms of fixtures and trying to relate it to FPL in terms of what can we do, or what do we take away from all the fixtures in a particular game week from an FPL point of view. So I started writing it as a blog, because I think the Instagram post was not doing it a lot of justice. There's only so much I can write on an Instagram post, and I think that is definitely a very good thing that you should definitely check out. But I think, yeah, always open for anything that you would like to see, and I would love to present it to you guys. Don't promote it, or else I wouldn't beat my main league leaders if they also watch this stream. I mean, whatever works for you. I think we'll go with that. Just go ham with it. It's your blog. I mean, yeah. Of course, it's our blog. It's just not my blog. It's, I think, all of you are also a huge part of the blog of Insanely Football, and just not the blog. I think we've built ourselves a very good. It's still a small community, but it's still a very strong community of people who love football, who watch football, who play FPL, and at the end of every week, before the deadline and before these streams, and in general, we connect, and it's always just great, you know, catching up. But yeah, let's. I want to make it very inclusive in terms of people also feeling a part of what we are building here. It's just not that I want to go absolutely batshit crazy by making it very commercial. Of course, commercial is always a part of it, and that's where you kind of move towards. It's always that gradual shift. But I think I would want you guys to feel a part of what we are building here, and it is a very good good community that we have already built. I've been doing this over the past couple of years now, and yeah, I mean, there are people who have been around since day one, and it's just overwhelming. It's just a very overwhelming feeling, and I sometimes feel that I wouldn't have ever imagined that something like this sort would have happened when I started this in, I think, 2020. I think yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect at that point, but yeah, it's been a great journey. They even follow her. I mean, yeah. So a lot of people, they do reach out, they do text, do message. I get a lot of DMs on Instagram. But yeah, it's always a great. I always love chatting. I'm not a very social person in general, uh, in my regular day to day life, but I always am up for banter. I am up for talking about football, because that is something that has driven me from the very beginning. Even before I thought of starting this channel, starting insanely, football is something that has been very, very important, and has played a very crucial point in my life since childhood. I mean, I'm not that old, but yeah, I mean, it's been very, very important. The X follower here don't remember the X. So I mean, we're still trying to find the X till date, and I have been very bad at finding it. As I said earlier in the stream as well, I think I'm okay in mental mathematics, but I'm still very bad at at conceptual maths. It's just been a struggle. Essentially, it boils down to would you have Saka or Castagna, or oh, I mean, add that comment. I was just reading that comment, but yeah, you read that message anyways. But yeah, guys, we have about 45 minutes to go. Please feel free to add anything that you would love to or want to. In case if you have any questions, please feel free to add those in the chat as well. Do let me know who you are captaining. I think in terms of the poll that I started, we have 63%. So I think it's an overwhelming favorite when we talk about captaincy in terms of going with Salah. I think there's a lot of older bias as well in terms of what we've seen from Salah over the years. It's difficult to of course, Haaland is a different proposition, and I think more than being confident about getting Haaland's returns, I think it's also us being scared that Haaland will do a lot of damage to our rank if we do not captain him. So I think that is more being scared than being more confident. But it's still not very, or we are still not very comfortable with the fact that we can captain an Arsenal option, we can captain a Saka, we can captain an Odegaard, or an Nketiah. I don't see a lot of people thinking in that direction. Thinking about Salah as captaincy is very, it comes on very naturally because of the fact that Salah has given us great times in FPL. But yeah, I think depends on what happens next season as well. But we might be seeing that shift now very, very soon. Sorry, posting my question in a second. That's absolutely fine. Please take your time. Captain Saka, I'm having sixth sense. I mean, I am having I'm having my doubts as well. And also because the fact that Klopp just randomly mentioned in his press conference that there would be some rotation. Now he might just be playing mind games at the end of the day. There's so many ways where we can dissect it and see this, but I still am very confident, or you know considerably confident that Salah at least is not going to get benched. And yeah, I think there's a lot of older bias and historical data, historical information, historical stuff also in our minds when it's, as I said earlier, right? It's very comfortable thinking about the fact that we will captain Salah. The same comfort might not come in when we are talking about Saka in this scenario. He'll outscore Salah, maybe. Let's see. How can Liverpool bench young players like Gakpo? Fabinho can't make runs, thinks his career is over. Gomez had 5 contributions for Madrid. Defenders defending like, I mean, yeah. I'm not sure if you're a Liverpool fan. It looks like you're a Liverpool fan. Because there's a lot of saltiness in that comment, but I just think Liverpool needs a reset. I mean, they definitely need. I mean, before even we talk about going to the summer and they trying to rebuild the squad. I mean, I don't think so. Klopp has been in this sort of a position where yes, he's always taken teams like Dortmund, to a certain level. He did the same thing with Liverpool as well. But now we've reached a point where Liverpool has been playing at that top level for quite some time. Yes, they won the league, they won the Champions League, but we still do not. I mean, it's still a bit tricky to to see what Klopp does, because right now it feels like he's very clueless in terms of what he's doing. They definitely need some refresh in their midfield. I think whatever their current midfield is, that's not good enough, especially if they want to compete at the very top level, at that same level that Arsenal's playing this season, or maybe Man City has been playing over the past few seasons. So I think yes, there needs to be a strategy shift as well. There needs to be some pressure built on the owners. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure already on the owners. There's all this saga that was going on in terms of whether the club is being sold or not. Now the owners came out and said that they're not selling the club, so that is probably done and dusted, at least for the time being. We may see some fresh rumors coming again, especially in the summer. But yeah, I mean, this will have to get through the season and try to get towards the top four, because again, I'm not as optimistic as a lot of other I'm not a Liverpool fan, first of all, and I'm not that optimistic in terms of them overturning that deficit against Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid will definitely score, and I think that makes the situation very tricky for Liverpool. So they definitely, at least to me, it feels like they're out of the Champions League, and then the only focus is the Premier League. But yeah, not not seeing how they will turn the tables here, because on one side you have teams like Tottenham who still are playing okay. I mean, they're still managing to stay around that fourth spot. You have Newcastle as well, who's done really well. Maybe we see an upturn in Chelsea's performance as well. Who knows what's going to happen with Chelsea? Who knows if even if Potter's going to stay till the end of the season and see that progress that Chelsea might make. I mean, yeah, that's another story and another conversation. But yeah, I think there needs to be a lot of changes at Liverpool. Nathan Ake to Tarkowski. Sorry, again, need more context in terms of what's your entire team, who are the other defenders. In isolation, this is an okay move, but if you have 11 players, 10, 11 players, and this is not an additional hit. I mean, it's fine. You don't have to make the transfer in case if you want to chase the slight upside. It's not that Tarkowski has very easy fixtures and bankable clean sheet fixtures. Absolutely not. So yeah, need a little bit more context, but in general, in isolation, if I just read this, I'll make the move for a -4. But yeah, as I said, need more information there. Is Robertson a much worse of an option than Trent? He's not much worse. His numbers are okay. They're not very inferior to Trent. They're slightly inferior for sure. Uh, but yeah, I mean, in case if you do not have enough money, in case if you're trying to save money, that's a different thing, maybe because of the fact that that additional money can help you move towards a Darwin if you want to go there. Maybe that additional money helps you move towards a KDB to a Salah, for example, something of that sort. In case if money is an issue there, then only in that scenario I think one should consider Robertson. But I think if I'm considering an option, if I'm considering a Liverpool defender, I think Trent definitely is better in terms of chance creation, in terms of goal threat as well. I think there's a lot more to Trent than Robertson at the moment, and I think I do prefer Trent over Robertson. But yeah, it's not that Robertson is a very bad option as compared to Trent. It's close, but I think Trent definitely beats him in most of the important metrics that we talk about. Devansh, you've mentioned I have Bueno, Castagna, Gabriel, Shaw, Trippier in defense, and KDB, Odegaard, Rashford, Pereira, Bruno in midfield, and Haaland, Mitrovic, and Nketiah in attack. You have two free transfers. You want to get in Salah for KDB, which is fine. And Tarkowski for either Castagna or Gabriel. I also want to get Darwin for Mitro and either Saka or Mahrez. Iwobi, Saka or Mahrez. Iwobi, Gakpo for Bruno. I think I'll. So the first move is KDB to Salah, which is fine. Um, I think I can take out Gabriel. Yeah, because you'll have to take out Gabriel in case if you want to move towards Saka. I think you can take out Gabriel. So basically, do the KDB to Salah move. That's one. Second, you take out Gabriel, move in for Tarkovsky. So that ways you have an additional spot open, and then get in Saka in your team as your third option, because I think Saka is a very very important option this week. I think his ownership's going to be high. There's good potential. I think there's a high chance that there could be a lot of rank loss here. So I think yeah, I think that is what I will look at. Basically, it boils down to, would I have Castagna and Saka, or would I have Gabriel or Mahrez Iwobi? I think I'll still have Castagna and Saka. I think it's fine. Let me know if I'm missing something. No, I don't think so. You're missing something. I think you're on the right track. You're at least thinking the right direction. And I think, personally, for me, I think I'm okay having Castagna and Saka. I like that option more than the option to go for Gabriel or one of Mahrez, Iwobi, or Gakpo, because it's not that any of those three options are very safe and very, very. I mean, Iwobi is probably going to play the most minutes out of the three options, but I'm not really seeing him really getting a massive haul. Mahrez, we know that he can easily get benched. Huge question marks over his minutes. Gakpo again may just play about 120, 130 minutes. But yeah, and because of that, I think I'm definitely more inclined towards going for Saka. Kepa, Tarkowski, Robertson, Cucurella, Salah, Saka, Odegaard, Pereira, Haaland, and Ketia, Darwin. That's your overall team. Looks pretty decent. I think Cucurella is the only option which I'm not confident of. But I mean, the fixture is okay. But yeah, I'm not very confident of a start there. Rashford out this week will affect my team value. Trying to get him back next week. Thing is that I can't get Salah without this move. I do have an alternative where I move Kane, Mitoma out for Salah, Darwin for a -8 as I already transferred. I think I'll do that instead of taking out Rashford. I mean, if there's a lot of value invested in Rashford as well, I don't think so we should take him out. He's not injured. He's not out yet. We've not had that information. Um, so I think, yeah, I still would personally. I know a lot of people are thinking about taking out Rashford, but I personally would keep Rashford in, and would not kind of disturb that sort of player without that sort of team value invested or value invested in him. I can move out Kane, and you can go towards Salah for a -8. I think it's fine. A lot of people are going to take hits. I'm too attached to Kane, having a really hard time. I mean, I understand the temptation to keep Kane, but and it's not that he's a bad option. I mean, not at all. I mean, I have not had Kane for the entire season, almost the entire season. I don't remember a time where I've had Kane. And I mean, I'm not gonna jinx it, but I don't think so. There have been weeks, or a certain week where I've really gotten battered. If you see his performances over the last 5 or 6 weeks, apart from that 16 pointer that he got against Palace in Game Week 19, it's been 5 points, 2 points, 8 points, 6 points. So he's ticking along. I mean, he's absolutely ticking along. He has, three attacking returns in his last 4 games, and four in his last five. But yeah, I mean, it's not that he's because of the fact that he's also playing in a slightly deeper role, and Tottenham aren't really playing that great. To be very very honest, they are not a team right now who look like they can score 4 or 5 goals, or even 3-4 goals in matches, and they have options. They have attackers who can share those attacking returns with Kane as well. So I'm not as bullish, or maybe as you, in terms of sticking Kane. I think there is an opportunity to be gained here, because it's also the fact that Kane is also costing you maybe around 12 million. 11.8 is what his price is right now. And especially when you downgrade to a cheaper option, even to a Darwin Nunes, who's I think 8.7, 8.8, something like that, you have 3 million, right? And you can do a lot with that 3 million. So if you look at it from this aspect, this perspective, I think it'll be a little bit you'll be a little bit more comfortable selling Kane, which I will do if I was in your situation. Do I start Cucurella or Patterson? I mean, start Patterson. I don't think so. He's gonna feature in either game, uh, or else you can just, or maybe just start Cucurella. I think I'll still start Cucurella, because I'm not seeing Patterson getting minutes in either of the games. So I'll just probably start Cucurella. In case if Cucurella, doesn't feature at all, you then have a Patterson coming in case if he plays, minutes, which is tricky. So I think I'll just start Cucurella. Darwin and Tarkowski or Trent and Watkins. I'll go Darwin and Tarkowski. Uh, Tarkowski is a cheaper option. You don't not investing a lot of money here. And I think Darwin can always become a Tony in game week. In game week 27, who is doubling. You don't have to. I mean, Watkins is a great option, but I think Darwin Tarkowski as a combination looks a lot better. Kepa, Tarkowski, Patterson, Gabriel Sala, Maris, Odegaard, Pereira, Haaland, and Ketia Darwin. If there's a question, let me know. But otherwise, the team looks okay. Patterson is not ideal. I also have Patterson in my team. He's not ideal for sure because, as I said, right now I'm not even confident if he gets a minute or two, right? Because he's not featured in training. He's not had. And there's no reason for all of us to believe that Coleman is suddenly going to get benched and Patterson just keeps starting games. I mean, I don't see that happening, to be very honest. Are we going to get early team news on Mitrovic? We'll quickly check. I don't think so. We have any leaks. He is a doubt for sure, and the situation remains the same. I don't think so. We have any leaks in terms of any early lineups because it's the Fulham Wolves game as the first game, which is going to happen tonight. But yeah, right now there is no information. Yep, no information on Mitrovic starting or not starting. I have my doubts on Mitrovic, to be very honest. I mean, Silva has been very cagey in terms of his press conferences, in terms of how he responds, and he gives us that slight feeling of feeling confident that Mitrovic is going to start, but he ends up not starting the game, and it's just very frustrating. Since the restart, my rank improved from 2 million to 300k. That's absolutely crazy. Great. Kane has been a pretty consistent. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt that Kane is not consistent. As I said, he will tick along very nicely. Doesn't look like, I'm not sure to say it, but doesn't look like he's probably going to explode. But yeah, let's see. Patterson to Kilman for a -8. Not very confident. I mean, yeah, Kilman does start both games, but not sure. Not sure. For a -8, I'm not sure. You've got a lovely voice. Thank you so much for that lovely comment. Cheers to you as well. New here, looking forward to more content. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We do the streams weekly and we do a lot of content on YouTube. There's a podcast, there's a blog, there's an Instagram channel as well, then there's Twitter. So there's a lot of FPL, a lot of information that comes from my side. Looks like someone's going to have a midnight romantic dinner. I mean, yeah. I don't know about that, but let's see. Let's see. Let's see what happens after the stream. We'll just keep it till there. Tarkovsky or Kilman? Tarkovsky for sure. Definitely a better option. Sean Dyke. I mean, again, this is all expectations that all of us have kind of put in our heads that Tarkovsky and Everton are going to keep a lot of clean sheets. It just feels that Tarkovsky is a good option because of the fact that one, he's cheap. Second, Sean Dyke is generally known to make the defense or play a slightly defensive game and focus and improve the team's defense first. He also focuses on set pieces, which is very good for centre backs and good towering defenders with good physical presence. And in this case, it seems if you've seen Everton games, you would have realized that Tarkovsky is definitely being targeted on set pieces, which is great because then that also gives him an opportunity to get an attacking return, which at I think 4.3, 4.4 million combined with a clean sheet, that is absolutely outrageous returns, which again may not happen every week, but at least you're giving yourself some you're putting yourself in a position to get some points there. Salah won't start the first game against Crystal Palace as the player cannot find his lucky boots. I mean, let's hope that he does. He is my captain, and yeah, I mean, let's see. Let's see. Taking my first -8 this week. Wish me luck. All the best to you. Have a great week, and yeah, definitely, it's fine. I think we have to alter our thinking in a way where we do not think that hits are necessarily a bad thing, because when we have a double game week, when we have options like Liverpool, I mean, Liverpool could absolutely smash it this week, and all of us who have gone for Liverpool options may get huge rank gains, etc. Again, depending on the ownerships of players like Salah, Trent, Darwin, etc. and they can absolutely tank as well, where they lose both games, don't score, and all that stuff happening. But at least you're putting yourself in a position to uh, to maximize your returns, because they have a double game week, of course, two fixtures. There could be some good returns. Fixtures also look decent, and I think if you're trying to get in players like Salah, and then if you're trying to captain them, I think the hit already kind of takes care of itself, because you will at least be getting a couple of points from Salah, which kind of covers off the hit. I mean, that's just an example, but I think yeah, I mean, that's it's fine. A -8, a -12 if you have very high potential players. If you also are going a bit aggressive and a bit risky, I know -12 sounds so odd and so weird that why would you take a -12? Rather just use a free hit, or just use the wildcard chip, and save those points around. So it's fine. I think this is a time of the season where hits will be flying around. It's just not you, right? There are a lot of people who will be also be taking hits alongside you. So the rank loss or the net loss that you will get from each hit is not going to be that bad. I mean, if that makes any sense. Captain and Ketia Odegaard. If I'm captaining either of them, I will look at. I think I'll depends, right? In case if you want to play safe, I think Odegaard is the pick. In case if you are doing rank chasing, and in case if you want to do things a bit differently, a bit more aggressively, I think Nketiah is still a great option. Very risky for sure, because of his finishing, because of the fact that he's not given us the huge returns that we all are expecting or we all are waiting for. But I think, yeah, it boils down to whether you want to go risky or whether you want to go safe. Darwin injury news, there isn't any. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. There is any news around Darwin getting injured. It's just going to be regular rotation, or maybe a rest, because the fact that Trent, sorry, not Trent, Darwin, Gakpo, and Salah have been playing a lot more minutes recently, and the fact that Jota and Firmino are also back, and I think Liverpool and Klopp would want them to also fire at the same time, maybe change the fortunes for Liverpool, especially in attack. But yeah, I don't think so. There's any injury as such. I can either do Botman, Bruno, Mitrovic to Tarkowski, Gakpo, and Darwin, or Trippier, Bruno, Mitrovic to Tarkowski, Salah, and Watkins. Personally, I don't like the idea of taking out taking out Trippier. Sorry. So I'll do Botman, Bruno, and Mitrovic to Tarkowski, Gakpo, and Darwin. I mean, Gakpo and Darwin are two. It's the fact that you don't have Salah and you can't get to Salah through this combination. I mean, it's not ideal, but yeah, I think I will still take out Trippier, Bruno, Mitrovic to Tarkowski, Salah, and Watkins. It's not ideal for sure, because I mean, just see if you can find a way back for Trippier, or maybe a Botman could cover off Trippier. At least the clean sheet will be covered. You might lose up to 2 or 3 points each week, but I think that is still fine. I mean, having Gakpo and Darwin, both players who can get rotated, isn't very I mean, it's not very confidence building for me, to be honest. And I think Salah is definitely the far more superior option. So I think I'll go with the second option, which is basically getting Tarkowski, Salah, and Watkins in place of Trippier, Bruno, and Mitrovic. Watkins and Mahrez, or Darwin, and Iwobi. I mean, because the fact that worth Mitrovic to Darwin for a -4. I think Mitrovic to Darwin for a -4 is fine. In terms of the combination, also, I think I will still have Darwin and Iwobi. I mean, two players having a double game week, a lot could go wrong, but I think they're fine. Iwobi is not the most ideal option that you would also want, because Everton is not. It's not that Everton, consistently score a lot of goals. They are accumulating a lot of expected goals and goal involvements and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I still feel they're going to be a defense first team, and defense is going to be strong, and that's the reason players like Tarkowski, etc., are more appealing than their attack. But yeah, I mean, in a double game week, why not? Why not? Sources tell us, sorry, Saka took a magic push and given by a soothsayer, and let's just hope that his ownership is less than 100. Yeah, I have no issues with Saka scoring 3 goals, but I just hope that Saka's ownership is probably going to be little less than 100%, his effective ownership, because I think last week was Rashford who had his ownership was more than 100, and with every point that Rashford was scoring, there was rank loss happening. Of course, I'm a United fan, so When I'm watching the game, I don't really care about FPL because I really, really want United to do well and Rashford to do well. But yeah, let's just hope his. What do you think? Do you think his effective ownership is gonna be more than 100%? I generally think it's gonna be close. Salah's may not be. But yeah, I mean, I still feel a lot of people will be more confident of captaining Salah. Maybe totally wrong here, but let's see. It's probably going to be in and around that 100% mark. Kane for Watkins for a -4. I think I'll do Kane to um, Darwin for a -4. I won't do Kane to Watkins for a -4. Yeah, that's how it is at the moment. I think again, it also depends, right? In isolation, I won't do it. But if this move is to facilitate a Salah, for example, then I think in that scenario, it's fine. Do you think Emerson, sorry, or Tarkowski will be a better option for the next 5 game weeks? I think Emerson is not a bad option. West Ham aren't really a great. It's difficult to see or understand what West Ham is doing because it's not that they're keeping a lot of clean sheets. They are conceding goals. Emerson at that price point could be a great pick because he could be a great enabler. I think it's just 4 million, right? Personally, I right now from whatever I've seen, I think I would still prefer a Tarkovsky. Again, we do not have enough information, enough data to say that very confidently because I think it's just been 3 games since Sean Dyche took over Everton, and I think a lot is a lot more is expected, and I think with each passing game we'll get more insights and more information. But with whatever we've seen, I think Tarkovsky looks like the slightly better option. With Emerson, I think Emerson's definitely going to start. It's just that are we sure that he has any attacking threat? Because from the looks of it, he doesn't look like a player who has a lot of goal involvement, who will get you assists, who will get you goals. And if you're just depending on the clean sheets, I'm again not very sure of clean sheets there as well. The only thing that goes for Emerson is that he is 4 million, so you can go for a cheap. You can get in a cheaper option, maybe slightly better than Bueno, or even a Patterson at this point, and then that additional money might help you make certain upgrades elsewhere. So I think that's the only good thing going for Emerson right now. But on paper, right now, I think Tarkovsky is the better option. Robert Tarkovsky, I think Robertson is the better pick. Uh, has this higher upside. Is more attacking as well. Though Tarkovsky also represents some decent goal threat, but I think overall, it's not that Tarkovsky has the most easiest set of fixtures. So clean sheets, I think it's quite equal and quite highly high. There are high chances where Everton doesn't keep a clean sheet even in one of the games. I think there's a high chance for that happening, and I think Robertson just is the higher upside pick. Whom should I captain? Gakpo, Martinelli, and Nketiah. Out of these three, I think Nketiah is the option to go for. Martinelli could get benched for one of the games. He can still come from the bench and score that fluke goal, which we saw. But yeah, I think there's a risk there. Gakpo again, he may start both games, but again, might get substituted by around 60 odd minutes. May or may not happen. I mean, all right now, all of us are just speculating at this point, but I think I'll captain Nketiah. I think Nketiah is safe in terms of minutes. He's a striker for Arsenal. Arsenal's attack is pretty good. He has good numbers. Only if he could, be a little bit better in terms of his finishing, I think this wouldn't have been a question. But yeah, I think it's still Nketiah for me. Then you dance like Vinny when they beat Barcelona. I mean, yeah. It's been a couple of interesting weeks for Spanish teams. Madrid absolutely smashed against Liverpool. Man United won against Barcelona. That was a huge, huge victory. I mean, I've seen a lot of people commenting, a lot of Man City, salty Man City fans. Again, no disrespect, but they are commenting saying that why are you celebrating like this? It's not that you've won the trophy. It's just a knockout game. But I mean, the pain that we United fans are going through over the past few years, a Man City fan would not understand, would enjoy that for sure, but they would not understand that. A Liverpool fan maybe can still sympathize with us in terms of them also going through this rough patch and this rough phase where they were out of contention in the Premier League, in cups, etc., for a long, long time. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's not even whether we end up winning a trophy this season or not. Of course, it'll be great if we finish with a trophy and we finish in that top 4 spot. It's just the improvement that you see game by game. I mean, we play like a collective unit. We play like a team. They aren't really egos that are flattered or that are overpowering the overall performance. Ten Hag has definitely taken the strides in the right direction. Of course, whatever happens with the club in terms of getting the sale and all that stuff, owners changing, that's a different conversation. But in general, United just feel like a team now, and it's a good thing to see them playing like this. It's all, of course, very emotional as well at times because we've been through a huge rough phase. But yeah, I think it's exciting times being a United fan. So Rabia or McNeil, out of the two, I think McNeil is a slightly better option. Not too much to differentiate between both because both are very average attackers. I'll be honest, but yeah, I think it's fine. You can go for McNeil here. Shaw, Bruno, and Ketia. Sorry to Shak. Why am I saying Shaka? Saka, Darwin, and Robbo for a -8. Don't have Salah. I will try to get in Salah, but if you can't, I mean Darwin and Robertson is good cover for Liverpool, but I'm scared that I don't have Salah in this team. In this combination. But as a -8, it's fine. But I will still try to find a way if you can get in Salah. Will you ever take Ward-Prowse as a differential? I mean I like him as an option always. He's a great free kick taker. He scores a lot of goals. Puts in a good shift for Southampton for most weeks. Uh, but I just don't think so. He's as explosive as a lot of the other options in that price point. And I think it's difficult to go for him when you see the FPL potential and you see Southampton as a team. I think I personally I don't think so. I'll go there. Shaw, Mahrez, and Kane for Trent, Salah, and Watkins. I think I'll do it. Andres Pereira or Ake, I'll play Andres Pereira because of the fact that he's an attacker, and if Mitrovic is out, he's also going to be on penalties. So I think because of that, I think I'll play Andres Pereira. I'm a huge Man City fan from 16-17 season, and I have no shame in accepting that I have only seen good times while supporting. I mean, yeah, I mean, how many Man City fans do you actually know who have been 16-17 is also quite recent, of course, but how many Man City fans? Because I'm a United fan since 2002, 2003. That's when I started watching football. So it's been 20 years. Uh, how many Man City fans do we actually come across who have been fans, since the last late 90s or since the early 2000s? Right? They aren't a lot. But yeah, I think it's fine. They have seen a lot of good times. Of course, a lot of good things has been done by the club. I mean, there's no denying the fact that the way the club is run, the transfers, managers, taking Pep or getting in Pep, getting in the right set of players, and then playing like how they've been playing at that sort of a top level. That is, even for a Man City team, it's tough to achieve that. As a Barca fan, I can understand the pain that, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. So Barcelona is doing pretty well in La Liga here. Uh, but yeah, I mean, you have these teams. You always have teams or your club or whichever club you're supporting. They might have gone through this transition where a lot of Liverpool fans are also kind of facing a similar time where they have seen good times. It's still a good squad. I mean, it's not a very bad squad all of a sudden, but they are going through this transition, which is it's always very tough to take. With Liverpool of old, it was a huge, huge time. I mean, I can't even imagine what those fans of that time would have gone through, seeing that Liverpool team at that point of time, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s, till the time Klopp kind of came into picture. It was a tough time. We have been facing a similar time for a long time now, since Sir Alex's last season and David Moyes then taking over, and a lot of stuff has happened. And yeah, I mean, there have been times where I've gotten very emotional as well, especially in that City game when we won. It just felt that there was so much pent up energy inside and pent up feelings inside, which kind of got released that night. I definitely cried after seeing United win, but yeah, that's what football does to us, right? It's just a very special feeling when you're passionate about a club, when you follow, when you supported their journey for all quite some time or all throughout. The Madrid fan, I have nothing to say. Well, we'll just leave it there. Should I play Bueno or take a hit for Trent? I think you can take a hit for Trent. Um, You can't really blame me. I'm right. I'm just 19. I mean, yeah, but I'm not blaming at all. It's just everybody enters into that football journey in a different time and frame, and I think it's absolutely fine. Of course, it was great. Even as a United fan, you could just sit there and applaud the way Silva, Aguero, company, KDB, San. I mean, the list of players is absolutely crazy. I mean, they've they've had a good squad, and it's just not the playing 11. It's they have had a proper balanced squad. Yes, you can debate here saying that they were playing without a striker for the last couple of years. I mean, look what they were still achieving at the end of the day. Yes, they didn't manage to win the Champions League. Now they've gotten Haaland. It's a different dynamic. Their overall game has also been a bit different. Again, we can sit here and debate in terms of their form and their structures, their strategy in terms of what Pep is playing over the past few weeks. And there has been some sort of I would say doubts in terms of how things have gone up for Man City over the past few weeks. You can see the defense not clicking. You can see the attack and the transition happening where they have to kind of play towards Haaland's strength, and it's just not one player, it's the entire team that has to change the focus, change the mindset, change that mentality, and change the way of playing. I mean, there's a lot of unlearning and then learning, which I think not a lot of people understand, right? But and it's not easy, even as football players, even as intelligent players, it's not easy to go through that transition. But yeah, that's what we are seeing, and I think that's a very interesting thing to see as well, because Man City have not had a proper striker in some time now, and this season we're seeing that. So is Nathan Ake starting? I have a feeling that he will. Sell Mahrez or Ake, I will sell Nathan Ake more than Mahrez. Again, if you do not have Salah, if you do not have Odegaard, if you do not have Saka, I think these are the options I'll try to get in first. And if Mahrez is the route to get them in, I think I'll sell Mahrez. Otherwise, I'll sell Nathan Ake. I've gotten Salah and Darwin for Kane and Mahrez. My backline is Patterson, White, Trippier, Botman, Shaw. Need to get in Tarkowski, but for who? You have point 0.9 million in the bank. I think you can take out Patterson and get in Tarkowski. I don't think so. Patterson is going to start, or you can even take out, in case if you feel that you still want to take your chances, and if you want to keep Patterson because he's a double game week player and because maybe he gets a start. It's still very unlikely for me, but in that scenario, I think you can take out Botman and get in Tarkowski. I think that should be fine. Love the club with all my heart. And at the end, it's just about. I mean, yeah, it's as you correctly, very nicely mentioned here, right? It's about emotionally getting involved in all the moments of the club, and being a part of that process, being a part of that journey. You live your highs, you live your lows, and you go along with that whole journey. And I think that itself is a beautiful thing to experience and witness in your lifetime. Um, and I still have Mitrovic. What to do? I mean, again, depends on your money situation. If you I mean, if you, I think you've already gotten, you've already made the Kane to Darwin switch. So Darwin is not an option. I don't know if you already have Nketiah or not, but Nketiah could be an option. In case, if you want to take out Mitrovic, I'm not sure. I think it will be for a hit. You can even go for a Watkins again. I don't know what's your plan, what's your strategy for 28 or 29, game week 28 or 29, but I think those can be options, or Watkins can be an option. Lovely being here. Lovely talking to you as well, Devarkya. Enjoy your dinner. Have a good time and all the best for Game Week 25. I can do Botman, Bruno, Kane to Tarkowski, Salah, and Darwin, but will only be able to field 9 players because Mitrovic has a 50% chance. Uh, I mean, Tarkowski, Salah, and Darwin as a combination is still absolutely fine. I think it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to necessarily take a hit for a player which you're not comfortable with, right? Because it's not that we have to stock up on double game week players, because the fact that Arsenal, of course, Arsenal and Liverpool are maybe a slightly different conversation here, but we don't have to force ourselves to get towards 11 players, because of the fact that you might end up getting players like McNeil, Sarabia, Kunha, for example, who may not be in your plans in game week 26, 27, 28, and 29. And you might take hits because you are feeling a bit insecure about not having 11 players. You will take hits to get them this week. They may or may not perform. Again, that's a different conversation. But then you'll make more transfers to take them out, and that also might involve hits, right? So in case if you're okay with all this, it's fine. You try to get in the maximum players with whatever hits you can. It also depends on the way you look at FPL and you play FPL, right? If you're a defensive manager, if you do not like taking a lot of risk, I don't think so you'll take these many hits. In case if you want to have some fun, in case if you are going very aggressive and you want to maximize the potential from a double game week, maybe you take those hits. But it I'm somewhere in the middle but towards the attacking side. But yeah, I mean, this week it is not necessary to field 11 players. Mar is out for Grealish in. I'm not sure whether Grealish also starts this week. I mean, I think he will get minutes, but I mean, I'll try to stay away from the Man City midfielders at the moment. There are good options in Grealish is quite cheap as well. He's only 6.8, but you never know. I mean, Foden could get a start, Mahrez could get a start, Bernardo Silva could just randomly play. It's difficult to predict what Pep is going to do, and I think I'll just try to stay away from the Man City options. Apart from Haaland, I think we are okay avoiding or letting go of Man City players at the moment. So I personally won't do the Grealish in move. Salah, Trent, Watkins, or Salah, Robertson, Nunes. Because of the fact that you're getting three Liverpool options. Again, depends on how comfortable you are keeping these three Liverpool options, and then again, what's your plan with these three options. But I think Salah, Robertson, and Nunes would be the way to go, and would be my three players to look at and to go for. Guys, I think the stream got stuck. Do let me know if you can hear me and you can see me. I think there was some issue with the stream. I think I'm back now, but there seems to be a drop off in the stream. Do let me know if you can see me, you can hear me. Bench Andres, Pereira, Cucurella, or Perisic. I think I'll still. It's a tough one. I'll definitely play if there's just one option to bench. I think I'll still bench Perisic. I think Cucurella, not very confident about a start, but I think I'll still play him. I'll definitely play Pereira for sure. You're already playing Kepa. In case if you're playing Kepa, then in that scenario, maybe bench Cucurella because you can cover off the Chelsea defense with Kepa and you do not have to have double up on the Chelsea defense, especially when you have a game against Spurs. An away fixture for Chelsea, Kane can still do well. The Tottenham attack can still score goals. But yeah, I think in that scenario, I think just bench Cucurella and play Pereira and Perisic. Also, the fact that I'm not very sure about Perisic keeping a clean sheet. I mean, Chelsea can still again struggle to score a goal and not score here, and Perisic might just end up with a clean sheet. But I think Chelsea overall, it looks a bit tricky for them, and I think I'm okay playing Perisic. Thank you so much, Saeed, for joining. All the best to you as well. Have a great week and have a great game week. Great. Guys, so a couple of more minutes. We'll take a few more questions and then we'll call it a night. Make sure I'll also quickly check my team once. Do make sure that you save your free transfers, you save your team, sorry, and you make your transfers. I think taking hits is fine. If you're targeting Liverpool options, if you're targeting Arsenal options, if you're even targeting Tarkovsky, I think a hit is okay. I mean, it's not a mandatory thing to do, especially when it comes to Tarkovsky, but I think it's fine. In terms of captaincy, it's very close between Salah and Saka. If you're feeling that Saka is going to outscore and he's going to do really well, you go for Saka as captaincy. Otherwise, Salah is also a good option. If I'm looking at a differential pick apart from Salah and Saka, I think I'll look at Nketiah. I'm not very sure now because the fact that Klopp did mention about some rotation among the attackers. I'm not still very sure about Darwin Nunes and Gakpo as captaincy options. I think I'll rather look at Odegaard and Nketiah in that order if I'm looking at differential captaincy options. But yeah, I think that's about it in terms of having the set of players or in terms of captaincy. We don't have to go for 11 players this week. I mean, if you look at my team, I have Bueno, Patterson, Mares, Martinelli, Darwin. All of them could have reduced minutes, and it might absolutely be crazy. But I'm not gonna jinx it. Just 1 minute before the deadline. Any last questions? Any last thoughts? Please add that in the chat in the comments. Thank you so much again for all of you for joining. All the best for Game Week 25. Have a great week. Have a great game week. Do try to watch whatever football you can. I think it's always great to see a lot of information and get a lot of understanding firsthand from your own eyes. And I think of course I'm there and we are there to help you in terms of any content. Do hit the like button. Make sure that you hit like and you support the stream. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm to basically be found and to reach more people. Also subscribe to the Insanely Football YouTube channel if you have not done that so far. We do these streams, we do a lot of content. There's also a blog that you can check out. It's insanelyfootball.com. And I think there's again a lot of stuff coming up. There's a podcast as well. Of course, I will try to keep updating in terms of whenever we are putting out content. But yeah, a lot of exciting, interesting times, and that's deadline, guys. All the best. That's it. No more tinkering. I have Salah captain, Saka vice captain. Let's just see from where we go from here. Thanks again. Thank you, Bikal or Bikal. I hope I have not murdered that name. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your support. Any last words? Any last comments? We're here for a couple of more minutes, and then we'll call it a night. Um, do let me know in terms of what content you would want to see. I would love to know your thoughts in terms of what would you want to see next week. Of course, we will get more information regarding the FA Cup fixtures, regarding whether Liverpool is blanking Game Week 28 or not. I think there will be some chip strategy content also coming out. Of course, right now there is no one best chip strategy. It totally depends on your team. It totally depends on the chips that are available to you. But I think next week there'll be a lot more content centered around chip strategies, centered around free hits, and in terms of in case if you do not have chips, in case if you just want to maneuver around with regular transfers, we'll also kind of cover that. But yeah, do let me know what you would want to listen on the podcast, and you would want to see on the blog. You can always reach out to me and DM me on Instagram. You can reach out to me on Twitter as well. I would love to always have a conversation. United will win Europa. They could absolutely win Europa. I mean, we're playing well. There's a lot of confidence going around. We look like a team. We look like a unit now. And I think, I mean, yeah, why not? Why not? We can definitely win Europa League. Barca game was so good. It was actually very good. Stayed up to, of course, work on the content, FPL content bit as well. But yeah, I mean, was watching the whole match, and I think it was great. There was I can't compare this game to the 2009 and 2011 Champions League finals, but there was still some retribution that yesterday's result got us. At least it got me in terms, because I have seen those two finals and I've cried my shit out. It was not very pleasant. But yeah, there was some sort of retribution that we got yesterday. It's just not the victory; it's also the manner of how we won, and the collective effort that we saw from the team. I think that was great. More exciting times coming ahead. There is the EFL Cup final as well. That's coming on Sunday, I think, and I think there's a good chance that we get the first trophy of the season, and after a long time. So I'm really really excited, really really pepped up, and let's see what happens. Yeah, kind of soft revenge. I mean, yeah, it depends on how you see it and how you take it. But yeah, it did feel like some sort of revenge taken from those two defeats and from that team managed by Pep. So that's that. Great. Thank you so much again, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I think we'll call it a night here. All the best. Have a great week. And I will see you guys next week. Of course, there'll be a lot of content that will be coming up. So make sure that you are tuned into all of that stuff. I think it'll be really, really crucial and important. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care. Bye bye. Good night.